Hello Americans and other friends and subscribers around the world. We are cooking today. I'm going to show you some morels and some grouse. I'm going to make it up into a stew type thing and then put some dumplings in it. So it's not really chicken and dumplings, but it'll be grouse and dumplings. So I'm going to show you first the grouse. This is some grouse that we got. And if you take a good look at it, you can see like where the BB holes were and maybe a little bit of feathers left over. So I'm going to show you the best way to get rid of those BBs. You just take a nice knife that has a fine tip, put it in that hole, and just kind of fillet it up like that. Now open it up and you can just make sure that there's no feather particles in there, the BBs are gone, all that. Rinse it off. Let's see if there's another one here. There's no BB in that hole. So there's another hole here that I'm going to try. Nope, no BB there either. So I'm going to take a few minutes and get all of these breasts here cleaned up, and then we'll come right back. Okay, we've got our grouse all cleaned up. No feathers, no BBs. I'm going to go ahead and start the vegetables, and I've already chopped them up. And for something like this, just use what you have, what you like. I had some sweet peppers and some carrots and onions and garlic. So he's okay. Oh, no. No, he wasn't okay. You want a bite? You want a bite? So I am going to use some coconut oil because I like cooking with coconut oil. You don't have to use coconut oil. I'm just going to get a couple tablespoons, just kind of guesstimating there, and get this heated up. What, baby? You want to try a carrot? You want a carrot? There you go. There you go. So I'm going to saute up the vegetables. And that's not quite heated up yet, so I'm just let that oil come to temperature and get that going. And you can see here some of our dried morels from the springtime. And there's a lot of different ways you can add morels to your dish. You're going to add them straight dry and then add liquid and let it reconstitute in the dish, and that's what I usually do. You can reconstitute it prior with water, or some people use milk, but I don't think that that's real necessary. So I'm just taking this and I'm just cracking it with my fingers into chunks. So basically I just put in a couple handfuls of the morels and let them saute up with the vegetables. And I'm using an electric wok, but you can use any kind of pan on the stove top, whatever you want to use. So I'm going to let this cook down, and while it's doing that, I am going to chop up my grouse. Hey, you want to hold that for me? There you go. So when you look at meat, you can see that there's a grain to it. If you want it to be a little bit more tender, you want to cut against the grain like this. Grouse is pretty tender by itself, so it really doesn't matter how I cut it. So I just cut it into bite-sized chunks, nothing fancy. Get it cut up. Because this is going to cook with liquid also, so it doesn't have to be the same size. Some recipes gotta cut everything up to the same size, not this. You holding on to Grandma's morels for her? How handsome. One of the joys of cooking outside, you also get the bugs. I don't know if you can see that bee that's buzzing me. They like that fresh meat. Just throw that in there with that. all those yummy vegetables, yummy grouse in there. Just let it cook down a little bit before we add the liquid. And if you can see the bottom of the pan there, all that flavor down the bottom, when we add the liquid, that'll loosen up from the bottom of the pan and make some really good flavor. And if you notice, I didn't put any spice in. A lot of times in stuff like this with all these great flavors, I won't put any spice until we go to eat it, and then we will just spice it up to taste. I'm going to put the lid on and just let it cook. Okay, so it's been cooking, and you can see the vegetables there are starting to get translucent a little bit in there. Made its own juice. Pulled up some of that seasoning from the bottom. So now I'm going to, I don't have any stock made up or anything, so I'm just going to use some chicken bouillon and some water. And I don't really do real measurements. It's probably about a tablespoon. I'm going to put probably 3 cups of water in, so I'm going to do 3 tablespoons. Like that. And after it gets all cooked in there with the water, you can taste it. If you feel like you want a little bit more, you can add a little bit more. And add some water. Stir it up. And while this is coming to a temperature, because I want this to boil and cook a little bit, the vegetables a little bit more before I add the dumplings in. So I'm going to let this cook. I might end up adding a little bit more water because when you make a dumpling, it actually steams. That's how it cooks the dumpling, is off the steam. So you want to have plenty of liquid. And this is really runny right now, of course, because it's just water and stock. But once you put the dumplings in, it will thicken up because it acts as a thickener. Some of the flour out of the dumplings will thicken up that liquid in there. Okay, so we're going to let that boil, come to a boil, and just let it, turn it down a little bit and let it simmer until all the vegetables are all cooked up, and then we'll come back with the dumplings. Okay, we're back. Take a look and see how those vegetables are cooking. I did add a little bit more water so that I could get those dumplings to steam and cook in that liquid. But all the vegetables are nice and cooked. And I've already mixed up my dumplings. Nice, pasty, gooey dumplings. Any dumpling recipe will work. I didn't film that part because I didn't think that was real important. So you just scoop up your dumplings and drop them in. After I get these dumplings in, I'll let it sit uncovered for about 10 minutes and cook at a boil. After the 10 minutes, and I'll come out and make sure that the dumplings aren't stuck together. I'll show that part too. Then cover it. Let the dumplings finish cooking. It takes about 20 minutes total for the dumplings to cook. And just put them in random. It's okay if they overlap. Sure smells good. I didn't pull up one of those Morels so you could see how it was reconstituted. I'll do that before I put the lid back on. Last bit of dumpling dough out of there. You can find a good Morel. Oh, right there. There's a real good Morel. All reconstituted. Yummy. Okay, so this has to come to a boil before I start my 10 minutes. So I'll sit here and babysit it for the next 10 minutes, and then I'll show you how I kind of separate them before I put the lid on. Okay, it's been about 10 minutes, and if you take a look in here, you can see where the dumplings have started to cook and where they're not cooking. So I'll just take the tip of my spoon and kind of separate so the juices can get in there. Like that. Some of these bigger ones over on the edge, I'll try and kind of gently scoot them towards the center so they can cook a little bit more quickly. Try. Without breaking them up into pieces. The more you mess with them, the more little tiny pieces you'll end up with, which is okay. Little dumplings are good.
Smells good in there.
Does it smell good? Okay, so now I'm just going to kind of slide the spoon in up underneath to try and get the vegetables and the juices that are in the center to disperse a little bit. You can kind of see it's starting to thicken up. Gravy in there. And we want to keep that liquid boiling because when I put the lid on, it'll be that steam that finishes off the cooking on the tops of those dumplings. So it looks like I did pretty good about getting the ones that were less cooked into the center where the pot is a little bit hotter. So now I'm going to put the lid on and let it steam and finish cooking. And then we'll come back out with our bowls and have a little taste test. Okay, so it's been about 10 minutes, and let's take a look and see how them are cooking. I did turn the heat down just now so it would stop boiling. Get in there and take a look. Got some nice thick stock down in there now. And all I'm doing is just mixing the vegetables with the stock around the edges that just a little bit different consistency in the middle. And we're ready to serve it up. Get this great big one here to my husband. He'll like that.
Sweet.
And switch to the ladle. Some of those vegetables and meat in there for him. Ooh, how's that look, babe?
Awesome. Awesome, awesome.
There we go. Grouse and Morel dumplings from the Homestead.